if Spence and them came to you with a 50-50 and said, come on, let's just make that fight, obviously you'll still fight, correct?
I don't know, to be honest.
What?
Why is that, bud?
Because
Wow.
I'm past that. It's like I've been calling for them fights since I was at 140. If you go all the way back, before I even became undisputed, before I even had a welterweight fight, I was calling out Keith Thurman, Errol, Spence, and all those guys, you know what I mean? And once I'm moved up, everybody was saying, get a belt. Get a belt. I get a belt my first fight. Not no tune-up, no nothing. My first fight at welterweight. Now you on the wrong side of the street. I'm not about to be playing these games where they say, oh, well, we fight you when we want to fight you. It's on our terms and this and that and that and this. It don't work like that with it.
Wow. Terence Bud Crawford says that even if offered a 50-50 split now with Errol Spence, it still might not be enough, and it still might be too late for that fight because he don't play those type of games. We're going to talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Make sure you guys click the link this weekend. Stipe Miocic, Francis Ngannou, Part 2. Rematch heavyweight fight. Use my link. It does help the channel continue to grow when you guys click on that link, and you guys can enjoy a great fight. I think both fighters have learned a lot, so it should be a good rematch. Now, you guys heard the clip at the beginning of this video. Terence Crawford, he did an interview with Ak and Barack with DAZN, and he said what he said. Paraphrasing, since you guys heard it yourself, he basically said, even if offered a 50-50 split now with Errol Spence, he still might not take it. He said that might not be good enough. And I want to talk about it. I want to kind of give my thoughts on the whole situation. Listen, I love Terence Crawford, the fighter. Never had a problem with him, the fighter. He shows up. He's in shape. He has the mental side, which is great for a champion. Some guys are great natural talents, but they lack that hard edge, that competitive streak. Crawford doesn't have to worry about none of that. He's ambidextrous. He's a great fighter. I've never said anything negative to Terence Crawford, the fighter. My only criticism is Terence Crawford, the businessman. Terence Crawford, the businessman, I don't understand his moves. And again, you know, to each his own. I'm not disrespecting him. I'm not disrespecting what he's done, but you know, some things maybe aren't for you to understand. I personally don't get it. I don't understand this lane and, you know, this game that he's playing. And I can't say game, you know, maybe this is just how he really feels. But I hate to say it, and I said it previously in the video, and this was before this interview came out and before I even heard this, and it sounds almost like Terence Crawford is so dejected with things not going his way. It almost sounds like kind of like a temper tantrum, like what a kid would do when you tell the kid to put the toy back, you know, put it back down. It's like Terence Crawford has told everybody who would listen that he was the A side, and boxing should respect it going into negotiations with the Errol Spence fight. Myself, I wasn't of that same thinking. I told you that Errol Spence, you know, he's the big fish. Outside of Pacquiao, you know, he would be the A side in that situation. He's done more pay-per-views. He's done the higher grossing pay-per-views in terms of bought viewership, you know, how many people are paying for the pay-per-views at a higher price. He has successfully been in different parts of America and even the UK. The UK fight with Kell Brook had a great crowd. I forget exactly offhand how many people were in attendance, but it's probably 20,000 plus. Then with Sean Porter, 16,000, 14, 15, 5 versus unknown mandatory in Ocampo. He did great numbers with Mikey Garcia, nearly 50,000 AT&T Stadium. He outsold Canelo in his fight in December of 2020. Canelo fought Caleb Smith later that month, and Errol Spence fought against Danny Garcia and had more pure margin and a higher live gate, right? So these metrics I felt put Errol Spence ahead in that conversation. And Errol Spence believes this as well because he's told you. He said, I'm the man at welterweight. You know, the records show that, man, down. I'm big fish. And he said it. You know, he said 60-40 my way, 50-50. But if he keep talking, he might get 30% or something. You know, he's poked fun and kind of taunted Terence Crawford. Now, Terence Crawford, who previously didn't believe, he thought that it's like, this is what I feel. I feel like Top Rank is a good company and they have a certain way of doing things, but their way of doing things could be a little bit old fashioned, traditional. But we're in 2021, things change, things evolve. And I think the aim is to tell guys like Terence Crawford, hey, we'll get you in good with the writers, right? Don't worry about it. Keep doing your thing. They'll rank you in the pound for pound conversation, number 1, number 2, yada, yada, yada. You are undisputed. And they teach you and groom you into believing that these accolades and these milestones and these personal achievements and personal best are all that's there. But the thing is, Top Rank hasn't really made a pay-per-view star since probably Pacquiao, right? And I think Pacquiao, I don't really feel like Top Rank necessarily made him. I feel like the timing was right. The Philippines needed a hero. He was the biggest thing from the Philippines, still one of the top biggest stars. He has a style that people love. He was later linked to Floyd Mayweather. He was fighting a ton of great Mexican fighters. So, you know, everything just kind of worked for Pacquiao. But you see the more since Pacquiao, post Pacquiao, Top Rank hasn't really made a guy that's a pay-per-view. Teofimo's beefing with Top Rank and going to Triller. Jose Ramirez, Josh Taylor is on ESPN. You know, they can't put that on pay-per-view. They didn't put Lomachenko versus Teofimo on pay-per-view. Crawford tried a pay-per-view, one time with ESPN, one time with HBO, and they both flopped, etc. So it's like they teach you these things, these ancient teachings in boxing, and Crawford kind of believed them. He believed that, like, oh, I was undisputed. But people look at it and they're looking at the names like, you know, I respect it, me personally, ego, because I even went to that fight, like the Ndongo fight and stuff like that. But a lot of people weren't familiar with Ndongo, and like, you know, certain wins age better after the fact. But Ndongo never really looked good again since the Crawford fight. So I don't know how that win aged for him. And at the end of the day, you're now in a division that's popping welterweight, and he hasn't been able to seemingly get these fights. So now it just sounds like Terence Crawford is dealing with the reality of not being the A side, and now he's kind of throwing his hands up almost in the form of a temper tantrum. He just told you, he said, I'm not playing these games. They saying, oh, we're going to give you this 60-40. So now if they give me 50-50, who cares? That still might not get it done. So, you know, I personally, I don't get it, because I don't see how that hurts anybody but himself. He says, oh, I've already been undisputed and I'm making good money. So, I mean, to each his own. I'm not here to convince nobody. If that's how he feels, that's how he feels. But I feel like Terence Crawford should be in touch with his PR person, because I don't know if this is appealing to fans hearing a fighter say, I've already been undisputed. Who cares? You know, I'm making good money. I'll just fight whoever they put in front of me. You know, part of why Crawford has received criticism at welterweight is because you are fighting whoever they put in front of you. And people want to see you with the Porters, the Keith Thurmans, the Errol Spences, the Pacquiaos, and you haven't been able to get those bigger names, you know? So if you just sound complacent and content saying, oh, I'm making good money, you know, if that makes you happy, then that's great. But it just sounds like a defeated champion, like the politics and stuff haven't went your way, so you're kind of just throwing your hands up and you saying, oh, they playing games, it don't work like that. But this is what people try to tell Crawford. Yes, it does work like that. Errol Spence is going to continue to grow regardless, because even if you hold up the last WBO belt and he's never able to become undisputed, he can get 3 belts and then move up to 54. And then there's a ton of fights for him there that are all aligned with Al Heyman. So I just don't see Crawford really winning this game. You're not in the position of power. And this is what people are trying to tell him. But Crawford, you know, he's a grown man. He seems very headstrong and stubborn. So wish him the best. But he seems like the game is getting real, and he's realizing that he doesn't have the power. So he's like, oh, it doesn't work like that. But yes, it actually does work like that. You got to play the rules. If you made and aligned yourself with the people you aligned yourself with, you branded yourself like you branded yourself, then you got to kind of just play the game. And to me, it just sounds like Terence Crawford is at a spot where he's just like, who cares, you know? And I don't know if that's a award-winning attitude. And the thing is, he's probably like 33, 34, whatever age he is. And you got these up-and-coming young fighters. And, you know, Crawford's career could finish on a note of what could have happened. Like, what would have happened had he fought these guys. You know what I'm saying? And that's not for a career. Nobody wants to see a career end like that. But, you know, it is what it is. He just sounds like he's fed up. But this is what people were warning him with to begin with. So he should really do some soul searching. People say, why'd you sign that extension with Top Rank instead of exploring your options? Because most people could foreshadow that we were going to come here and get to this point. And now he's like, he's on the losing side of he told everybody that he's 60-40 and he deserves 50-50. And now when he's not winning the chess game, the chess match, he's just kind of throwing his hands up. Oh, well, put whoever you want in front of me. I'll fight him. And, you know, even if I get 50-50 now, that might not be good enough. So, you know, he can pout or have this temper tantrum, but at the end of the day, this is your career. So, you know, I guess if he's happy with all that he's done and the names he's amassed, then, like I said, best of luck. But to me, it just he sounds kind of mentally defeated because he couldn't back up the things that he was hoping for. Like, he was hoping to tell people, oh, I'm undisputed, and put this pressure on Errol Spence to make the fight on his time. And then now that he can't get the fight on his time, he's just kind of like throwing his hands up. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.